Aha. How come we still remember and cherish come September after 50 years of its first launch? Yes, that is what I precisely want to address today. Now, I know that some of the leaders on this call, on this meeting, are much younger than the 50 milestone that I put in front of you. Even if you're 25, you still remember what happened 20 years ago. And that's what we do as a journey that we take on. And Lali is here. I know he's still trying to connect, but this is why I wanted to call it Legacy Forward, made easy. We've all heard about and known the concept called paying it forward. Now, whether we believe in or not, that's a different story. But what good we do today comes back multifold to reward us, to give us the gift. If nothing else, it may not even be a tangible one, but it comes back to give us the recognition intrinsically inside us, the moment of ah, the moment of aha, the moment of wow, and that's life. Well, I probably should put a disclaimer out here that although I've lived in a bubble, I have come to know of such drastic, powerful stories. I call them drastic only because the journey has taken such topsy-turvy turns, detours, and some nosedives. But knowing all of you, I know that you are so resilient in picking up the pieces and begin to climb towards your peak again. So my friends, one key message today I want to give you is keep climbing, because your peak is right around the corner. Yes, you may not be able to see it right now, but look at it from your vision, the mental vision, the intrinsic, the meditative vision, that your peak is right around the corner, right? Chances are you'll come to a fork in the road when climbing towards your peak, and you will decide one road to take. And that road may take you on a parallel journey. It may even take you on a downward slope a little bit. But guess what? As long as you keep upward gaze towards your peak, there is nothing that should distract you from climbing that, conquering that. You probably, all of you, I guarantee you, I'm willing to take a bet, all of you probably have such powerful stories. We may not quite get the chance to listen to all of them, digest all of them, but my curious mind wants to know so much about you as to how you have been working your journeys, because that needs to be the role model, the best practice, the example for others in the community, in the society, in the country, and therefore globally. Yes, I keep claiming I'm a borderless guy because borders are man-made, and so is the religion. Spirituality is infinite, just as the universe is so powerfully infinite. Okay? Rather than dive into your stories, what I thought. I believe this to be true. Tell me some facts and I will learn something. Tell me the truth and I will believe you. But tell me a story and it will stay in my heart forever. And that's what I want to do. This is going to be a series of 4 episodes that we're going to run between now and December to be able to give you different steps, different chapters in climbing and conquering your peaks. Because even if you are standing on the top of Mount Everest, my invitation to you is going to be Lali, Asha, Saroj, Michelle, John, Jason. Let's uncover your next peak, right? So given that, if you look at the picture where it shows you the crescent moon, it's the first moon, and the Venus is trying to peep in towards those who enjoy the stellar movements of the planets and the moon and the sun, because we are made up of those. We are dictated by their movement from time to time. And why did we decide to have in that movement of the universe? Why did we decide to put our logo aiming for the moon with your passion and success? Basically, because we gotta always think about augmenting, elevating ourselves. Don't look in the rearview mirror. Whatever story you may have written, let's look forward to the journey that's coming up. All right, given that, I've already mentioned the stories remain in our hearts forever. I have known some of the stories from my friends that are here already. I've known some other powerful stories that are not here. But we won't negate any of the stories. We will keep all of them in mind. And to be able to have a baby or 11-year-old running with jute on her feet rather than a good or even a decent pair of shoes, and winning the gold medal first time for that school is an unheard of kind of passion and passionate energy with focus. So let me start by saying, we all have heard about the concept called mindfulness. Now, some of us may not even have heard about it. Some of us may not have practiced it. I was so fortunate to have practiced it without calling it mindfulness from the age of 9. Yes, I called it fortunate because it came to me one sudden evening when I was meditating, or I was attempting to meditate with my parents and their friends, because it happened to be Swami Vivekananda's birthday. And we had offered dinner. And as the meditation got over, everybody left the room. And the practice usually was to turn the lights off, turn the air conditioner off when no one was in the room. Guess what I did, my friends? I said, hey, if Swamiji is eating his dinner, that too, his birthday dinner, he needs to have the lights on and he needs to enjoy his dinner in the air conditioner running to cool the room in the scorchy summer that was outside. When I came down and told my parents that I had done that, when I came down and shared that with my parents, they were ecstatic. They said, you have done something so powerful, it will stay in your heart forever. And yes, it does. I was 9 years old. Later on, I found out that that is what's called mindfulness, staying, cherishing, enjoying every moment, right? That's where I started my journey. I want to give you 4 stages. So more towards the conclusion of the session, I'll probably give you a total of 5 chapters. I already gave you 1. Here comes the next one. You know, most people ask, have you found a purpose in life? I was fortunate to have found it at 16. My parents insisted that I needed to be independent as soon as possible, self-reliant as quickly as possible. Age was just a number. And given that, when I went to a state dinner where the World Bank and IMF executives were there, I was the only 16-year-old or anyone that was speaking with them in English. And they approached the general manager of that 5-star resort. Some of you may know the resort. It's called Oberoi's in Bombay. And they insisted to the general manager that he needs to hire someone like me, where they would find it easy and easier to communicate when they tried to check in every single time. Instantly, I got the job. I would work at night, all night, 10 to 6, get into the bus by 7, take the bus for an hour to get to college, spend till 3 o'clock in the afternoon at college, come back, homework, dinner, back to work. But that triggered such a passion and a purpose for me to be able to help others. Never once did I lose sight of that. And that job, that role, that experience got me my first real job with Tata as a branch manager, a marketing executive in Bombay, where we launched a successful concept and a product that India had not heard about just yet. So I was instrumental in bringing that. So first one was, like I said, mindfulness. The second one was servitude, helping others relentlessly without taking a pause. Because once you have that awareness, there is no journey that you will ever leave half fulfilled, right? So from Tata, went to being a hospital specialist in a small city called New York City. And I used to be able to claim to, at least to myself, not to others, I may have said it as a branch manager to my team, if you can help and market in a city like Bombay, you'll be able to do it anywhere in the world. As soon as I landed in New York, got my job with another small company called AstraZeneca, I changed that statement. If you can market, help, and sell in New York City, globe will become so small, you will absolutely exceed every goal that you set for yourself. And that's what ended up happening. Servitude. I was not a salesperson. Yes, I like to talk, but so what? I hope everybody does. Yes, I like to tell stories, but I hope everybody should and everybody does. Why am I saying that? Is because in my mindfulness, servitude, and helpful gratitude behavior, that's when I became number one, regardless of the language barrier. People used to laugh at me how I spoke in New York City. People used to curse me how I used to drive in New York City because I was used to driving on the left side of the road. America drives on the right side of the road. And jokingly, they will claim anyone who drives on the left side of the road, they don't say left side of the road. They just claim wrong side of the road. I don't agree. Never did, never will, because they don't know the history. But I don't hold their ignorance against them. Now, for those of you that may not know the history, why historic countries like India and most of Asia rides on the left side of the road, I want to take you back to history. Think about any war that comes to your mind. Okay? We didn't have cars. We didn't have tanks. We didn't have any of these weaponaries. And yet, there were wars being fought. On what? Horseback and chariots, elephants, right? Now, chances are, majority of the soldiers, including kings, were right-handed. And if you think about it, to hit the enemy with the right hand, which is where you have most of the prowess of your body, power of your body, you would likely attack with the right hand. Now, it would best suit you to be on the left side of that opponent to be able to hit them with the right hand. Now, picture this, imagine this. If you're on the right side, you're right-handed. If you hold the spear in your left hand and you're trying to hit, of course you're going to hit, but is it going to be as powerful? Chances are not. And that's when ancient tradition of wars and victories built the culture of riding on the left. And we still continue to do that, driving on the left. Now, I won't talk about driving in India because right now, and for years right now, we probably don't know where we are driving, but that's okay. We're not here to talk about the driving patterns and rules and regulations of society or culture or what have you. My point is, I was cursed so much. I was cursed so much by New York City as to how I spoke, what I spoke, and they would always ask me, what's your cultural shock? My biggest cultural shock was New York was more direct than Bombay, than India. But India was and always will be, hopefully, more polite than any other place that I've been to. Okay? Given that, why did we choose today, September 1st, as the day of a new dawn, new beginning, new era of what we are attempting to do to build and to help build legacy forward made easy is because September 1st tends to be a very auspicious day for me in my journey. I started my first job in the US on September 1st with AstraZeneca. I got my first promotion in AstraZeneca as a regional VP on September 1st. I got my global VP assignment and I started in London on September 1st. I'm hoping that you are putting the equation together, the math together. September 1st has a significant meaning, memory, and experience in my story and my life. And I will not forget that day. The two most significant days in anyone's life is, first day is the day we are born. And the second most significant day is when we find out our purpose. We don't go to a game of bowling or the game of darts with no pins or the board. If we don't, and if we start looking at our lives as that game of bowling, and it's a game, how can we and why would we go to the game of life without pins in front of us or the bull's eye in front of us? And those bull's eyes and the 10 pins ought to become our purpose, our goals, and therefore our destination. Love your life, regardless of the rear view mirror that you left behind. Cherish the moment and you see how your life will turn for you. I choose to give this example to everyone. On any given Monday morning, how many of us get up and say, oh my God, it's another Monday, or I don't want to go to work. Why do I have to go to work? That, oh my God, it's a Monday. Don't change the statement, change the tone. Oh my God, it's Monday. How many more people can I go and help? Right? If we do that, if we begin to do that, look at the tide turn in your ocean, right? So we started with mindfulness. I gave you the servitude, gratitude, and then relentless focus with integrity and determination to empower legacies around you in intuition, trust, and yearning for learning. I'm going to open it up for any questions, thoughts, stories that you may have. Anyone can jump in and just unmute your mic and please share, because I have titled myself a CLO, not a chief learning officer, but a continuous learning organization. And if I don't learn from you, my teachers, my masters, my leaders, I am missing out in the opportunity and in the moment. So, any thoughts, questions, comments, and stories? Whoever wants to go, come on in. We'd love to hear. I'm eagerly waiting. I'd love to hear please. We'll build stories as we go along. And I told you so many stories already. So, anyone? Or is it too?
Hi, Ben.
Hi.
This is Lali. How are you doing today?
I'm fantastic. Thank you for asking. I hope you're doing stellar as well. Tell us what's on your mind.
I have a question for you. I've heard your very powerful story. My question to you is, sir, if you were to turn back the clock and do one thing differently in your journey from September the 1st in New York City to September the 1st today, which is 2021, any one thing that you think you would wish to do differently, or if your son was in a similar journey, what would be your one broad advice to him, which you think you would have done differently and you'd expect somebody who loves you or follows you to do differently? Thank you, sir.
Okay. You were coming across just a bit distorted, but I got the gist of your question, so I'm going to answer that. This response or this answer is going to sound like a cliche, Lali, and all my friends, my leaders. But sitting here, I have lived my life with such pleasure, such tremendous energy and focus that there is not one thing that comes to my mind that I would change. Why? Because when you run your life with the kind of GPS that life, God, and your parents gift you, I don't think you can get lost. And my GPS was, is, and will continue to be gratitude, passionate purpose, and servitude. There is nothing else beyond these three aspects, elements, attributes that come my way to be able to have any distraction from the purpose and the goal and the mission that I have set, not only for myself, but for my loved one as well. And when I say my loved ones, I'll briefly tell you the story in a minute, but that's where I am sitting here. Yes, I continue to learn, so that's not a regret. Could I have learned a bit more? Absolutely. But in doing so, would I have compromised other aspect of it? Probably. And was I willing to take that chance? Probably not. And that's where I can so confidently, not egoistically, confidently claim that having had the level and the kind of enormous gift and gifts that I have received, there is not one day, one moment, one decision that I would ever change. And I say the same to my son, as to live your life with integrity, because there is no one more poor than those without integrity. I hope that answers your question. I can share a story real quick. I saw a detour in my life some time ago when the entire medical community had written me off in claiming this guy's not going to make it back. If he makes it back, he's going to have such memory loss, he's not going to remember anything, and he's going to have such blurred speech, nobody will understand him. Now, I hope to God that I've proven them wrong, because I hope that you understand what I'm saying and what I'm claiming. But in doing and my fullest recovery, my partner, my wife, proved to me that for her journey to be so steadfast, she needed to be focused with determination and integrity and intuition, trusting that I will make it back. Mind you, when I say this, I'm minimizing the trauma that I suffered, but I was consciously sedated for 21 days in ICU. My friends, to draw a parallel for you, open heart surgery patients are discharged from ICU in no more than 2 days, extended to 21 days. When I was consciously sedated, I didn't hear any murmurs around the water cooler or at the nurses' stations or in the doctor's lounge, but my wife did. And that, for her to withstand that, my friends, it gave me a keen awareness. She's my God's greatest gift. I hope that answers the question for you as well. Please share your stories.
Did.
Sorry,
it
sir?
absolutely did. I said it absolutely did answer the question. Part B to the question is, how did this detour impact your thought process in life? If it did impact, or are you still on the usual course?
Yes, it didn't change my thought processes. Surprise, surprise, to any medical practitioner, they still cannot believe as to my fullest recovery. But nothing has changed, Lali, in me and my friends, other than it instilled an even greater sense of urgency to be able to help as many as I can. And what did I do after my fullest recovery? I wrote the book that you're looking at, Legacy Forward Made Easy. And 2 years ago, we came up, my partner CTO and myself, we came up with an app to help people uncover their passion and purpose. Now, the reasoning behind that was sense of urgency. And the second was just because of my human limitation that I have not been able to meet with the likes of population in Japan, rural parts of Indonesia, Thailand, Europe, Eastern Europe, Russia. Why should they be at a disadvantage of what I am trying to accomplish to help them more and help them live more fulfilled life? And that's where and when Shamshad, my partner and CTO, helped me come up with that app called Pentel for Passion. It measures your passion quotient in 16 different attributes, characteristics, and traits of life and leadership. So nothing has changed. I'm so fortunate. Yes, knock on wood. But I'm absolutely grateful. Therefore, nothing has changed. Nothing hopefully will. Here is my statement of prayer, just so that you get a sense, Lali, and my other friends, of course. Each morning, each evening before I call it a day, which is a fairly long day, mind you, my prayer is to my parents and to 2 other entities. You didn't give up in spite of the obstacles you faced in life. I promise you, I will not give up to the last breath. And so help me, bless me, and guide me so that I don't give up. I hope that helps. I hope that helps.
Thanks, it did. Thank you. Thanks a million.
Okay, great. Thank you. Asha, you have a question, thought, comment, story?
Yeah, not a story. It just took me quite a little while to come back from your stories, Ben, actually. So thank you so much for all that share. Amazing story. And I am going to order your book from Amazon. I think when I Google, it is available on Amazon. And I love the blurb about Ravi, a humble man who gets his success without losing his integrity. And I want to buy that book and I'm going to order for it tomorrow. So that's what I wanted to share with you. And yeah, I mean, it's so important not to give up your integrity. But as human being, I mean, and I'm really happy for you that and humble that you do not regret anything in your life, considering the journey that you have undertaken, and bless you and your family, your beautiful wife and son. But as human beings, even if you want to hang on to that integrity and be a person of integrity, there are compromises you have to make in life sometimes. So, if in such cases and instances your integrity is under threat, what do you do?
A brilliant question. Thank you. And that's when, if you recall, earlier in the session, I had said, you will face a fork in the road.
Yeah.
You will come across some obstacles. And that very question tells me the temptation to give up on your integrity, which ought to be your key value and a principle, that you were tempted to give that up and make a decision against your value, against your principle, to be able to ease the journey forward. Yes, we are humans. You're absolutely right. But how do you stand tall against the incoming storm is only known to the lighthouse. Why do I say that? Is because lighthouses are not built just so that they can shine the light to the passing sailboats and boats in calm seasons. They are there, and their significance is much higher in value when they stand tall in the stormiest weather, where the waves are splashing and hitting and crushing, attempting to crush in the manner that lighthouse will be shattered. But hopefully, even though it may be man-made, I've not heard of any lighthouse being broken by the crush of the waves, by the storms of the sea. Why do I say that? Is because you've heard about bridges being collapsed. You've heard about buildings being collapsed. Whatever that may be, why do I choose to give you an example of a lighthouse? It's simply because of what I just shared and what I'm about to share. And that is, although I said my final goodbye to my parents some time ago, they still continue to be, my dad continues to be my lighthouse in my life, and my mom is the favorable wind in my sailboat. I know I gave you a very hypothetical reason to stand tall, and I'm not in your shoes to be able to say that it's easy to do it. No. I can give you stories, and I will give you at least 2 stories. Just brief, if you don't mind. When I first got to the US, we needed a driver's license. And all of those, and I'm going to narrow it down to the ethnicity, so please bear that. I have no grudges against it, but it makes it for a powerful story and real, and that's the only reason I'm bringing it to the ethnicity. All of my friends of Indian origin, they came to see me because this was a newcomer to town, so we got to go and see him. And almost all of them said, you have to leave a $50 note on the passenger side under your application for the inspector to take it. Otherwise, you will not get a driver's license. These were the words that I was told before going to test for the driver's license. I'm a newcomer to the country. I have no idea how it works. My response back to them was, never once did I do it in India. I am not here to start a trend here. If I don't get it, I will take the bus. I will take the train. But he or she is not going to get my $50 without earning them. That's one example. Very mundane, probably very trivial. But here is the other one. As soon as a key physician found out that I was the regional vice president newly appointed for the southern southwest United States, which covered anywhere from Southern California to Arizona to parts of Texas to New Mexico, Colorado, Utah, all of those. I don't mean to give you all the states here, geographic lesson. But as soon as he found out, he called me up. He found my cell phone number somewhere. He called me up and said these words: Ben, I have arranged for a Bollywood show next weekend, and you have to purchase 150 tickets at $100 each. I did instant math in my head. I said, that's $15,000 instantly. How can I commit to that? I'm not going to be able to do that. So very politely, I said, sir, I think that's too much of a heavy burden on me to make that kind of decision. Give me till next year, or next time you put up a show like that, I'll see what I can do. I did not commit. I'll see what I can do. Guess what the response was? He says to me over the phone, oh, if you don't do it, that means you will not get any business from me. My answer, very firm yet polite. I said, sir, I know you will do what is right for your patients. I must do what is right for me and my organization. And Asha, to prove the point to you, I instructed all of my teammates to not get 1 cent worth of business from that physician. Yes, you can do it. Yes, it will take courage. Yes, it will take clarity and guts. I don't mean to minimize what you're asking, but it is a very, very daunting situation to face. Asha, you have your mute on, so I couldn't hear you.
No, I said, wow. And your examples were amazing. And I especially liked that illustration of the lighthouse. I didn't think of the lighthouse like that. Only deep thinkers like you can actually think of something, as common as a lighthouse in that sense. So thank you so much for bringing that perception, that lighthouse. It's just not only a beacon for the boats and the ships on the sea, but it can also mean what you just said. Amazing. And thank you for examples from your personal life. Yes, you need to be bold and stay firm because integrity demands that of you. And thank you so much once again, Ben.
I salute you. I salute you. I thank you. I respect you so much, and I love you for it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Likewise.
My other friends, any thoughts, questions, stories, comments, please. This is your stage as well as mine, and as much as.
So Ben, I just wanted to thank Asha for asking that question, because I had a similar thing in my mind and you already answered it. But yes, I will come up with a question possibly soon.
Okay. So let me reiterate, Vinod, welcome to you, my dear friend. I hope you're doing well. I know you've got a musical show that's going on in about 10 minutes or so. And I'd love to be able to see if I can join that. All right. Well, that's the musical one.
Hello, sir.
That
It
is
was
certainly the
wonderful hearing
musical
to
one
you.
that I was telling you about. So, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So first of all, congratulations.
Okay.
You told that September 1 is it's a very great day for you. I just came in when you were talking about that. So it is always inspiring and wonderful, listening to it. It inspires me a lot. So, you are just awesome. Thank you.
You're too kind, and I still remain your student, and I will always be your student, just so that you know. But let me reiterate where we started and where we are right now. So we started with mindfulness. Although I did not know that was called mindfulness, I gave an example of what is mindfulness. And then we moved on to servitude. Then we moved to awareness, to fidelity. Fidelity is the focused integrity with determination to empower legacies in intuition, trust, yearning for learning. So 4 things again.
Ben, I have a question.
Of course. Please.
Okay, so my question is, it's quite easy when you're all by yourself, when you're all alone, it's easy to take those decisions and follow your heart and whatever your ideals are. But there are situations where your decision might impact others as well. How do you maintain that balance, and how do you still stay on the path of integrity in those cases? And how do you still maintain the positivity?
Okay, a great question. Thank you. Brilliant. So I don't know, when you say it's easy to make those kinds of decisions when you're by yourself. I am assuming that you mean that when you were by yourself, that's why you could make those decisions.
And no, I was talking about myself, because when I'm alone,
Okay.
I stay alone. So at that time, it's pretty easy for me to take all the decisions.
Okay.
When I'm with my family or maybe friends, and a decision of mine is going to impact them, because it's not just me, it'll be them also.
Okay.
Then it becomes a little difficult for you to stay on that path sometimes, because there'll be a lot of objections that you might have to handle.
So I'll give you one statement to start with and then dive just a bit deeper, if you don't mind.
That's okay.
No,
Yeah.
no miracle or magic happened in our comfort zone. Magic, miracle, and priceless gifts happen outside of our comfort zone. Of the two examples that I gave, two anecdotes that I shared with you, one about the driver's license, yes, I was by myself, but all throughout my life, growing up in India, the value of integrity, the role model behavior of integrity and honesty was instilled in me without even preaching to me. But doing what needed to be done was so significantly vivid in my mind for me to say to anyone that was claiming, leave a $50 note there. I was by myself, you're absolutely right. Easy for me because I have two extremes. People either love me or they hate me for my being candid and open. But the anecdote that I shared with you about a phone call from a physician, we had a newborn baby that I needed to care for. I had a wife that was new to the environment in Arizona with no job that she had, nor did she want to find one, but that's a different story. And we were taking care of my mom, who was fast ailing and deteriorating. So I needed to care for her because she didn't have insurance. I needed to pay for it. I needed the money. And yet I chose to take the road that I felt would at least help me hold my head high and sleep peacefully, uninterrupted at night. Yes, it's difficult. Yes, it's extremely challenging. But when an aircraft faces turbulence, captains don't decide to turn their aircraft back and say, God, I'm not going to go through that turbulence, the thunderstorms and all that. No. I'm going to turn back. Or some resilient ones will say, okay, you know what? Let me find an alternate route, a different altitude, higher or lower. Let me see how I can make this journey more smooth for the passengers. And that's when you begin to think of out of the box thinking as to how, why, and what. I know I don't know your specifics to be able to answer that. We can talk about it one-on-one if you should choose. But the hypothetical anecdotes, examples that I want to give as key takeaways are truly based on mindfulness, servitude, fidelity, awareness, and finding your passion and a purpose to live more fulfilled lives to your destination. I hope that helps. What else?
Yes, it does. And thank you so much for that answer.
Absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Thank you. What else is on your mind? Anyone? Because I'm eager. I'm hungry to learn from you. Your questions teach me so much. I don't ever want you to minimize your questions, your thoughts, your anecdotes. Anyone?
Can I ask one more question?
Oh, you can ask 20 more.
Okay. So, I mean, every time that I have spoken to you, I see that positivity almost like pouring out always. How do you maintain that all the time?
I'm laughing only because what you see is so natural for me, and that's why I'm laughing. I don't ooze positivity. There are friends and there are people who know, there are my clients who have claimed to me that I'm like the Energizer bunny who just keeps on going and going and going. Because I've developed a mantra a long time ago. Instead of the entire world, probably the entire world calling it, we should be looking at life 24/7. I claim to them, rightfully, naturally, truthfully, we should be looking at life 25/10, 25 hours a day, 10 days a week. And that gives you the competitive advantage as well. Why do I talk about competitive advantage? Because most of the world works 9 to 5 or 7 to 3 or 8 to 4 or something like that. You know what I made it a rule when I used to call on hospitals? I would go there at midnight. I would go there at 2 o'clock in the morning to do the in-service for the night nurses and the night medical staff and all that by bringing them midnight snacks, possibly coffee and beverages. And you should see how their eyes lit up and their jaws dropped as to no one from the industry ever comes in to talk to us at this time of the day. Why are you doing it? My answer simply used to be, Saroj, you are no less important than those who contribute to the health of the patients during the daytime. In fact, you are significantly more important, and therefore, I owe you even more. Does that make sense?
Awesome. Yeah, it does.
Thank you. Journey and energy. Whenever you look at the fuel gauge in your car and you know that it's probably, let's say, quarter of a tank left, 1/10 of a tank left, whatever, you don't wait to actually run out of the petrol or gas. You get it when it's 1/10 at the most. And chances are, let's say you know, because you're in the known area, there is no petrol station that's coming up. Chances are, in order to plan and make a seamless, smooth journey for you, you will get the petrol, the gas, when it's quarter of a tank left. And that's what I do. If I choose to, and I'll give you this story real quick, and then after that, given the permission of my partner, CTO, Shamshad, we're gonna conclude the room. But body will tell you when you need the physical rest. So here's the story. I traveled around the globe, my friends, in 1 week. I left Phoenix on Saturday for a meeting on Monday in Tokyo, Tuesday in Osaka, Singapore on Wednesday, and I needed to be at a meeting in London on Thursday and Friday morning. I was absolutely fantastic and not tired at all up until Wednesday night, when Saroj, after my absolutely phenomenal dinner in Singapore, I boarded a nonstop flight to London. And I told, as I boarded, I told the flight attendant, please bring me a tall glass of wine. And after that, if I need anything, I will bother you. Otherwise, know it in your heart that I'm doing fine. About 30 minutes after takeoff, I fell asleep. And when I got up, it was a 13-hour flight. When I got up, Saroj, 11 hours later, the guy next to me, he was praying. He was going all kinds of things of his religion and praying. And I looked at him concerned. I said, sir, are you okay? He turns to me and very politely says, you have no idea. We are so glad that you are okay. I said, why? What happened? He goes, for 11 hours of this flight, you did not even move. And that's what I mean, Saroj, your body will tell you, you need physical rest. I am not an Energizer bunny that goes on and on and on. I thrive with 4 hours of sleep. And I've done it ever since the age of 18. I love it. I love you all. I am looking to conclude the room now, unless anyone has any questions, parting thoughts, stories, feedback. What could I have done better?
So Ben, all I want to say is I'm absolutely proud of you, and I'm glad that I have known you now. So thank you.
I love you so much. You have no idea. I have been writing to you that as well. And Lali, thanks for being here, my guru, my boss, my leader. Vinuta, I'm looking forward to such musical, exemplary notes from you soon. And Asha, I salute you humbly. In your servitude, I remain at your service. Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.
Salute.
Namaste, Ben.
Arrivederci.